Welcome back to the video breakdown for Heart of the Clear Springs. Today we're really gonna look at what happened in the story, and I'm gonna put it in a different perspective, my perspective, and I'm gonna draw a lot of parallels to real life because this story kind of hits close to home. First of all, because the main character is a bit of a sad boy, and then second of all, I feel like the girl that he liked is a pretty girl, and you can draw that parallel to say something similar as like a boy sliding into a girl's DMs. No joke, this happened last week to my friend Tommy, where there was a bit of miscommunication and things just didn't work out. So here we go. We're gonna go volume by volume. So in the first volume, first line, the boy is like crying, so we already know off the bat he's a sad boy. Second paragraph, we find out there's this beautiful spring fairy, and she is just different. You know, she is someone that he will never understand, and she is someone that he's never going to understand. And that's kind of the big takeaway from the story overall, so just keep that in mind. But beautiful girls in real life, they're different, you know? It's something that mere mortals like us are never going to understand. So, first volume, what ends up happening is this girl flirts with him because she's bored. She kind of has nothing better to do because she has like all of eternity, because she's a spirit, she can live forever. And just like pretty girls, they will flirt with you just for fun when they're bored and not expect anything to happen afterwards. So this sad boy, he gets the wrong idea and thinks the pretty girl like understands him and is going to make all of his dreams come true because he's telling her all about it, and she's just kind of sitting there nodding along, just listening. And then volume 2 happens. So in volume 2, the sad boy, he goes full in. He dumps all of his emotions in on this pretty girl, and she's just still kind of listening along. And the poor boy's problems are just piling up, and she is not empathizing at all. She's just kind of listening. Then there's this one line in here where they talk about how she kind of levels up because of his tears. She listens to his stories and kind of understands him. And that happens in real life too. Beautiful women thrive off of the tears of simps, you know? And then at the end of volume 2, this girl, she finally responds back to his DMs. So after he sends mountains of messages, she's like, okay, let me just be like, hey. And as you can guess, in volume 3, so he sees that message from her and he's losing his mind. He's so excited. He's like, I've been laying my emotions down on the line for the longest time, and you're going to reply now? Heck yes, score. So it's finally his time to shine. And flip back to her side. She replied, and then he gets all excited. She is like, oh, I immediately regret this. This was a mistake. I should not have replied. I should have just kept nodding along. And then the next thing that happened just blows my mind. I still don't understand girls. She kisses him. And without saying a word, she just kind of leaves. She, in her mind, is like, this is a goodbye kiss. But flip back to his mind, the sad boy is like, wow, she must really like me. She first she responds, now she's giving me a kiss. I'm doing everything right. And this volume ends with them both going back to their own place. He goes back to his apartment, she goes back to her place. And they have this little soliloquy where they talk to themselves. He's like, I'm never leaving this girl. And she's like, I have got to get rid of this guy. That's how that chapter ends. And then we pull up to the final volume, volume 4. So she talks to him. We find out that they grow up a little bit, and she talks to him every once in a while, because he goes back and he visits every day because he's in love, right? And then out of the blue, she cuts him off. She just stops responding to any of his messages. So he grows up alone, and he blames himself for this. He even goes full breakdown mode, and he tries to rationalize the whole situation by pretending it never happened. But he couldn't forget it. He kept dreaming about it. He couldn't stop thinking about her. He could still feel her lips on his. So he couldn't forget about it. So what does he do? He goes right back to where she was. And he cries his heart out again, doing sad boy things. You know, he starts playing some Drake songs, pulls out some drank, and he's like crying his guts out, like, why did you leave me? What did I do wrong? Still blaming himself. And she just watches him, like she's hidden, so he has no clue she's there. And he's just crying, and she's just watching there and does nothing. She just leaves him. And then what really messes you up is the last line in the book. It says, this legend has it, whenever the rain pours down, the raindrops fall into the pond mixed with the tears of the spring fairy. To his dying day, the boy believed wholeheartedly in this groundless superstition. But sadly, the spring fairy who fled from her true feelings could never believe it herself. So we find out she had feelings all along. Either she developed them somewhere in there, or she had them too. But she had feelings for him, and she just left him there, just crying. He probably died alone. That's messed up. So there we have the story of our sad boy and the beautiful girl that never end up together. And damn if that isn't the most realistic story I've read in a video game. My takeaway from this is that it is better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. But when it's over, it's okay to move on. You grow, you learn from that relationship, and utilize it to better yourself for the next one. Don't just hold on to those feelings. It's okay to move on. Anyway, that's it for this book. I'll see you guys in the next one.